Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another GeekVerse episode. This time around, I was gonna say celebrating. I guess we can say that we're celebrating some news here at GV 647. I'm
Celebrating
one
the
of your
drop
hosts.
of the Daredevil trailer.
Yeah, it's a special time. Our first trailer drop, but I'm one of your hosts, the chef of Hell's Kitchen, Kirkland Patzer.
I am Cupid with a kink, Dylan Muss.
Ooh, I like that. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as we've kind of already revealed, we're going to be talking about the freshly dropped Daredevil Born Again trailer, and a couple other things that we'll mention, as well as some trailers. So, but before we get into that, just a couple of plugs. So far in January, it's kind of been quiet after the super busy month that we had in December. I say that even though there is still many reviews dropping. Taylor and I have Skeleton Crew finale dropping this week. Dexter reviews, not quite time for the finale, but we're in the back half of that season. Reviews for there. Creature Commandos, we wrapped up that series last week, as well as I guess that's kind of the only other shows that we got right now. I've been going. Actually, never mind. I'll hold on to that until we get into what we've been watching section. But what else is happening this week, folks? We got a Wolfman dropping actually this week. So
it's happening.
Yeah, well, it's happening. Whether it's just Taylor Field or Taylor Field and I, we haven't spoke. That man is still out of the country, so we haven't solidified a recording time on that. But yeah, no, it's we got lots of stuff that we dropped over in December, and plenty of things that are going to be coming here on the horizon. Of course, the best place to support us is on our Patreon, where you can get everything early, ad-free, exclusive. We got a bunch of retros releasing early on there. Taylor and I got some Daredevil retros in the works right now, cooking up.
Perfect timing.
Just perfect timing, exactly. So yeah, Oh yeah, Patreon producers, of course. We have different tiers. So at our highest tier, we have our Patreon producers, which are Aaron Braden, April of Darkness, Jack Grant, Muds, Sam, Superbad Mike, Good God Loves Me 69, Jeremy Renner, and Charlie Randall.
He got downgraded from the great, hey? Now he's just the good?
Did I say the good? Oh my gosh. I believe when Taylor says it, he just says the God Loves Me 69. He doesn't say the
I love the
extra G in there.
acronym, just TGGLM69.
It's too much for my brain to
it's
process.
a lot.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister, but yes, we appreciate each and every one of you. Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid plug there. So before we get into the juicy trailer that dropped, Dylan Muss, have you been watching anything spicy or not spicy lately?
I've not been watching a lot. I've just been gaming a lot. You hear all that on
Nice.
SideQuest. If anyone hasn't listened yet, or if you're not on that tier, it's a good time to jump up on Patreon. Check out the January edition of Bread and Butter, where we had multiple topics, but that's where I did like a massive blowout. I watched a ton of things over the holidays, like 15 different movies or something, like a bunch of 2024 things, and I talked about all of those on Bread and Butter. So if you want to hear those thoughts, go there. But other than that, nothing really much. I'll just quickly share, Kirkland, my latest YouTube rabbit hole, because I watch more YouTube than I watch like shows or movies on a typical basis. And YouTube, it knows me so well. It knows me better than I know myself. It's given me all sorts of great recommendations for things I didn't even know existed and that I just love. And the recent one is that it's been feeding me a bunch of like tournament Scrabble videos, like Scrabble pros, like breaking down like iconic games and iconic players and stuff.
Okay.
And it's just hilarious too, because it's like it's Scrabble, but it's like, yeah, people are as into Scrabble as I am into Melee or any, whatever.
Yeah.
Think about your most passionate hobby. People are into Scrabble in that way, and the way they talk about the game and break it down is really interesting. Like there's I remember seeing like just a thing on Reddit that's been floating around, and these videos have been breaking it down. Is that there's the one guy who's considered like the GOAT, like the greatest Scrabble player ever. He's from like New Zealand, won all these tournaments and stuff, and then he learned the entire French dictionary and then like won a French championship. Like he doesn't speak a word of it, but he's learned the dictionary. And then he went and learned the Spanish dictionary and then won like a Spanish tournament. It's just like
Somebody
an
stop that
insane
man.
amount of brain memory power and just
Yeah.
like mixed with Scrabble skill in terms of where to place things and whatnot. So that's what I've been watching. I've been watching a shit ton of Scrabble videos. It's great to fall asleep to, or to make you alert. Like, I don't know, these videos have been keeping me company. So that's what I've
funny.
been watching. Yeah.
That's funny. You reminded me of like when I first discovered that there's like competitive Settlers of Catan. And
Oh,
it
nice.
blew my mind because like yeah, there's strategy to that game, but I feel like a lot of it is actually like RNG. A lot of it's based on like dice rolls and
Yeah,
stuff. But like
I wonder what the trading would be like in that.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you would really have to be playing like 3D chess or I guess 4D chess. Right,
Yeah.
regular chess is 3D chess, but to just get up like over your component opponents and
I should
I
look up
just
some
don't.
YouTube Catan tournament videos, pro things. I'm sure there's some good like video
Yeah,
essays people have done.
but like you said, like pretty much anything. I'm sure there's people that just take it like super seriously. And
Yeah.
any level of different type of tabletop game. What was that one zombie one that you had mentioned on our side quest episode?
Oh yeah, Dead of Winter. Yeah.
Dead of
Yeah.
Winter. Yes, I'm sure there's some competitive Dead of Winter players
Absolutely.
out there. It's probably pretty niche. But in terms of what I've been watching, I've pretty much only been watching Daredevil right now, and I
That's
don't
all you
really want
need.
to talk about that too much, just because Taylor and I are doing those retrospectives. So I finished season 2 today,
Oh,
so I'm
nice.
very excited to sit down once Taylor's back in the country. We're going to be recording
Okay.
that next episode in that retro
So that'll
series,
be up on
and
Patreon like next week, sort of
yep,
thing. Cool.
exactly. You
Nice.
got it. So yeah, no, I'm gonna save my thoughts all for that episode, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say I'm loving it. The show is just so fantastic and just perfect timing with this trailer release because I feel like I'm so hyped on so many aspects of the Daredevil world, not just the
Yeah.
character Daredevil or like Charlie Cox's performance, but the characters around him and
Mm-hmm.
just that world in general. Like it's just got a certain dark tone to it, and I'm really vibing with it. I'm really digging it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Does
I
it
got a
make
little bit
you?
spoiled in in the
Okay.
trailer because I'm not done season 3, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so minor, and I feel like it's something that it's just so I don't know. It would be a big moment, I'm sure, when it happens in the show, but like I don't know. It's something I kind of assumed was going to be
Right.
revealed anyways, but
Does it make you want to go watch the other Marvel Netflix things? Like, do you think after you're done, you're gonna go through and watch some or all of those?
it definitely did, just because I feel like this season in particular they mention like a lot more of that stuff. Obviously, season 2 is when Punisher is
Yeah.
introduced into the show, and I had already seen I think most of Punisher
Oh,
at
okay.
least.
Forgot
Like
about that
I
one.
think that one was only one.
I
Wait,
think
how
it was
many
two
seasons was?
seasons.
Oh, okay. Then I've seen majority of the first season, so I guess not that much of the show. But Jessica Jones, I had never seen. She's mentioned briefly. So, um, and then what was some other one? Iron
Luke Cage,
Fist.
Iron Fist, and then
Right, Luke
Defenders,
Cage.
which was like the Avengers version of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So I feel like yes, it tickles my interest, for lack of a better term, but that's also a pretty big commitment because all those shows are like 1 hour long episodes, and there's
Yeah,
just so much to
definitely.
be
Yeah,
watching and doing these days. But so that's kind of been the only thing I have been watching right now. So it's kind of a
hmm
cheat answer, and I'm not going to answer it right now. Go check out the Patreon for that. Of course, it will
absolutely.
be revealed, later on the public feeds. But
In due time.
yeah, I'm excited to talk to Taylor about that. So yeah, that's short and
Cool.
sweet what we've been watching. So without further ado, we're gonna jump into our main topic, which of course is the Daredevil trailer. We'll pull it up and have it going, just to pinpoint some things that maybe we are forgetting about. But what did you think about this trailer? Of course, this is like the first look at seeing
hmm
what they're gonna be doing with this returning character, and yeah, it starts with him sitting down. Well, I guess it doesn't start with that, but him sitting down with Mr. Fisk, which of course they've been adversaries throughout
Yeah.
much of their experience together.
Yeah. Overall, I think it's great. I mean, one, it's just tickling like the nostalgia a little bit by showing all these characters,
Mm-hmm.
and even if they have a minor role, like your Karens and Foggies, just the fact that they're in here at all is an exciting thing. And then obviously the bigger ones where it feels like Punisher and Kingpin are, well, Kingpin's obviously gonna be a huge part of it. I don't know how big of a deal Punisher will be in it, but based on some of the rumors we have for later in the episode, who knows? Maybe they're trying to tee up Punisher for a big return.
Yeah.
Overall, I think it's a great trailer. Like the tone of it, the visuals, the dialogue, and all that. It feels in line with the Marvel Netflix thing. It doesn't feel like it's been Disney Marvel-ified, and we'll see how much that ends up being the case. There's some brutal things going on here. I forget what the rating is of this, like comparatively
I
to.
believe it was R-rated, but
Yeah, I
I'll
think
double
it's
check
going
that.
like, because I think that might be different for TV ratings, right? But like whatever that
Right.
equivalent would be. I think the one thing that I didn't love about this trailer, and I can't tell if it's a bit of a decoy or even just a bit of like a trailer thing you'd have in a trailer, is kind of this conversation around Daredevil he's in retirement. He's got to come back out of retirement, because if that is like where the season starts, and we actually get a few episodes like without him in the suit, and he's TVMA, there you go. That's the equivalent. If we get like a few episodes of him like, I think I've quit this old life, but then I'm like, I'm gonna pick it. Like, we obviously know he's coming back. We see in the trailer that he is fighting, and we've also seen him in the MCU recently.
Mm-hmm.
So that would seem like an odd storyline to me, but I can't tell if that's just like a decoy he's telling Kingpin so that Kingpin's not suspicious of him, or not as worried about him, or maybe there's some other just misdirection, red herring stuff going on there. But that's the one thing where it's like, I don't want to spend half this season of Matt being like, oh yeah, I've given it up. I've given up the billy clubs. I'm not using those anymore. I think that would be a real drag. And I guess like, because I'm trying to remember now, because this show was originally many episodes longer, and I think they eventually split it. Now we're officially getting 2 seasons. Maybe I'm misremembering that. And like, so either way, it sounds like we're gonna get a lot of him in this series, and hopefully more to come down the line, and crossovers with other characters, and bring them into the other greater MCU stuff. So I think that's my only, I wouldn't even call it a worry point. That's just one thing that stuck out to me, that I'm a little bit fishy of, but everything else I think looks really great. So really excited for this to come back.
Yeah, it says 18 episodes split across 2 seasons, so
Gotcha,
2 9
okay.
episode seasons there. Yeah, I really like this trailer. I think the biggest surprise for me was the fact of like how similar it reminds me of the show. Even like just Charlie Cox's performance of the character. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't super familiar with it. Like when we had him introduced in the MCU, like whether it was Spider-Man No Way Home or his appearance in
She-Hulk.
Echo. Almost keep forgetting that show came out as
Yeah.
well as She-Hulk. But like just seeing him sit down with Wilt, like Mr. Fisk, I was just, man, like this is like, it's as if they recorded this season like right after the original show. Like he's just able to pick right back up in that character and just do such a great job. And yeah, I just really like Charlie Cox in that role. And yeah, it just seems like the whole tone, they've just really were able to capture the same vibe of what that Marvel Netflix show was able to do, but still kind of flavor it differently. Like I don't know if it was just, pardon me, just the score in this trailer, but it felt very like Halloweeny in a certain way. I don't know, just like Fright Night-y. Especially when it came up with like the credits, just the way that Daredevil is like the font that they chose, it's just a little bit different than what the Marvel Netflix was. So I do like the little extra flair that they have. So yeah, I like the tone of that, and just seeing a bunch of familiar faces here. It threw me off just seeing Foggy with short hair, because of course where I'm at in the show, he's got the
And
nice
the beard
long
too,
hair.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, no, it's cool. Of course, there's a couple things revealed here. It's like, wow, yeah, you gave up the vigilante life. I'm like, fuck, I just finished season 2. He's still a vigilante, so that's a bit of a spoiler there. And then of
Yeah, but
course,
once again, like, is that just misdirection with Kingpin to some extent, because
right,
he's been out of New York? Like, we in the MCU, we've seen that he's traveled to, because She-Hulk is in L.A., right, and then Echo
yeah,
was in like Midwest or something. So obviously
yep,
he's been like out of town a little bit. Now those could have been like pretty much weekend trips for how much he was in there. But
true,
then we also saw in Spider-Man that he was kicking around doing lawyer stuff. So,
yeah,
but like we didn't see him as Daredevil in New York. In New York, we just saw him as Matt Murdock, right? So
yeah, that's fair. No,
I guess like he hasn't shown the cowl. Do you call it a cowl? The mask. He hasn't
I think
shown
it's
the
a cowl.
mask. Yeah, I don't know. It's in the in between gray area. Like I guess
Yeah,
we haven't seen that version of him in New York in a long time, and
that's
maybe
true.
Kingpin hasn't either. I mean, he was even messing stuff up in Hawkeye. Kingpin was around, and Matt Murdock didn't do shit all to help, and presumably
Yep,
he was right around the corner. So, yeah,
he's in the Midwest somewhere, perhaps.
yeah, maybe.
I guess then the bigger surprise would have been me just, or sorry, for me would have been Fisk knowing that he was Daredevil, because that's not
Oh,
revealed
okay, it
in
hasn't
the
been
show.
revealed yet.
But like,
Gotcha.
it's one of those things where it's like, well, I kind of assumed that was going to be the case at some point in
Yeah.
time. Fisk is just such a big character, and smaller role in season 2 of that show, but definitely he's growing and spawning more units, as the
Right.
RTS term would go. So
I love this question from Superbad Mike in the chat. Do you guys think the show will acknowledge Matt being in She-Hulk, or mostly ignore it? Or I guess that we could extend that out to Echo as well. maybe Mike forgot about
yeah,
Echo as well. That's because I don't think She-Hulk will be in this,
no,
and I
I
don't
don't think
really
so either.
know. Like maybe we get a throwaway line of like he talks about a fling he had when he was out in LA or something.
Yeah.
But I don't think we get like a She-Hulk mention. I'll say that. Like we don't get the word She-Hulk or what's Jennifer Walters, right? I don't think we'll get that name
Right.
or anything. At most, a cheeky little joke, and I think that's the maximum of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like the show, especially just judging off of the first trailer, it really feels like we're sticking in that same playing field of what the Marvel Netflix show was. And I'm not saying like it's just gonna be as if we're jumping back in that universe, but just kind of playing with the pieces that we have, kind of that was shown here in the trailer. Like I don't think there'll be too many surprises of just different characters throughout the MCU being thrown into this.
Yeah.
And
What about
I'm okay with that.
what do you think about Echo more specifically then? Because that's actually a character that is kind of a tie between for Kingpin
Yeah.
and for Daredevil. Like, would that come up at all? Would that be relevant?
I guess so. Like it's a higher chance than She-Hulk, just because there's an attachment there, of course, to Kingpin, that character that's already been shown in this trailer here. So I would probably lean a little bit heavier if I would have had to choose one or the
Yeah.
other. I also feel like because I don't know, I just don't really see where Echo's going to be appearing next. So if we want to have her somewhere, maybe this is the most appropriate place for her. And she seems like she's like the power set or power level of what her character is would fit pretty well with what this show is. So
Definitely.
yeah, I didn't really think about it at the time, but now that you mention it, yeah, I could perhaps see her in there, but even then, not the highest chance.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know what would be said because like he had a
Yeah.
pretty negligible role in Echo. Like he just
Yeah,
kind of popped
just
up
kicked
quickly.
ass.
Yeah. Should we kick this trailer
Yeah.
up?
Let's get it
Okay.
going.
Hit the wrong button.
I'm assuming there's going to be some amazing fight choreography.
Yeah, that looks like it almost could be another hallway scene. going on
Yeah.
there.
They love their hallway scenes and just killer
Mhm.
lighting.
Yeah. Yeah, this is such a fun. This is going to be a fun scene, even though we're seeing presumably a lot of it here. Just Matt and Kingpin across from each other at a diner having a little
That-
convo.
That diner too, just where I was at in season 2, like that. Frank Castle and Karen like have a scene or two like sitting at those tables like in that diner.
Okay, nice.
Maybe I'm mistaken, but it looks like the exact same diner, so it was just kind of cool to see that. Of course, I like just recently watched that, so it was
Yeah,
fresh in my
nice.
mind. And then
love
look at
seeing-
these
Love seeing
characters.
the crew of 3, the classic 3. They're all so happy and they don't know what's about to happen. It sounds like.
Yeah. No, they look good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mr.
seeing
Fisk
some
for
more.
mayor.
Yeah, which we already knew about that, but it's
Mhm.
cool to see some of it.
I feel like he looks smaller than he does in the other Daredevil show. Like just his body mass is down a couple percent.
Yeah, maybe Donna Frio's been on a little diet over here.
Maybe it's because he's wearing like darker colors. Black is slimming, as they say.
Right, could be.
Some cool lighting shots.
Yeah, what do you think's going on here with Matt Murdock getting beat up in Matt Murdock mode? Like, who sent these goons to his apartment? Because this isn't like something like he's went to do a job and then
Yeah.
got caught off guard.
Yeah. Because I feel like this show isn't going to be like how the other show is of like balancing like Matt Murdock, the lawyer, and Daredevil. Like to me, I thought going into it, it would be pretty much just Daredevil like majority of the time. But seeing a scene like that makes me think that actually he is working cases, and then like it's a little bit, I don't know. He gets too close to some bad guys, but
Yeah.
I don't know. For a 9-episode show, I just again like I don't want to spend too much time just doing the lawyer things, even though I do like it in that original show. I don't know. I maybe I just want to see more of a Daredevil side of
Mhm.
that show.
Yeah, because even like this building he's in doesn't look like a dingy like villain lair where he's like gone
Yeah.
here and just didn't have the suit or something. So
Yeah,
see
totally.
what that's about.
Got these
So
different
this
colored Bella Calabas.
do you know who this guy is?
I do not know who this is. Do you know who this
Okay.
is?
I think so, but I won't.
Oh,
I
okay.
won't say. Got a little bank robber going on here. The devil's work is never done.
I like it.
Got a little sex scene in the shower.
Yeah.
Also, who is he dancing with here? Was that a known person?
It-
I don't recognize this person that he's dancing with.
It's funny because to me, I just see like what's her name, the lady that plays like the other Electra, the Electra
Oh,
from this show.
Gardner. Yeah.
Yeah, Jennifer Gardner. But when I first saw her, that's what my mind was. I'm like, what the hell are we doing here? But no, definitely not her. I don't know
Yeah.
because at first I thought it would have been Vanessa maybe too, but no.
And it is that the same lady here in the shower with him? I can't. This almost could be Karen. I don't even know. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
my mind thought it was the same lady. I've
Yeah,
also never
probably.
seen Matt like wear like a chain like that. Oh, there's Vanessa. Okay.
The chain. I missed it.
In the shower, he's like got some bling on.
Oh, okay.
It just doesn't seem like a Matt Murdock thing.
Yeah.
Eh?
And then this is the character I believe is called Muse.
Thought it was Hard Eyes when I saw it.
It could be Hard Eyes. I can't tell. I guess this is like a bag. It almost looks like skin, but it's like a bag with some red dripping down. I don't know anything about this character. That's gonna be a first for me.
Yeah, same here.
You know.
Creepy look.
And we got Punisher, full beard and
Ooh.
everything.
Bearded castle. Yeah, probably is a
Bearded
cross
castle.
necklace. Belt.
Yeah.
You're right. With the hatchet. Very long, dark look to him. Looks like a long, dark character.
Yeah. And you know, the classic ambiguous like, does he actually swing the axe at Matt?
Yeah.
It's like, no, he just sticks it to the locker.
That's where he
a
kills him,
dramatic
yeah.
Punisher. Yeah, imagine if that was the kill shot there. Nice transition here in the editor, by the way. Axe
Yeah.
hit into like the explosion of
Totally.
the building.
So this would be at that same bank robbery, I would imagine.
Okay, we got some guy here. Don't know who he is.
A lot of hooded characters.
Yeah. Oh, that looked brutal. The glass in the eye.
Oh, yeah, there's some brutal shots in here. And even just going through that show, I'm like, man, they get to levels.
Mm-hmm.
So we get the different cowls.
5 mask variants.
Mm-hmm.
2 red ones that look almost identical. And then you got gold, silver, and black.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see him use all 5 of these, or is this more just like a fun
No.
a silver Daredevil suit? That could be interesting. Or do you think it
I
would be
like
just
that
silver?
idea.
It'd probably just be silver accents, maybe. But
Yeah. It wouldn't
it's like
just
his
be all
Iron Man
silver.
version of his suit.
Yeah. No, you're right. His like Mach 1 version.
Yeah.
I like the look of them. I would love the idea of different suits, but I think you'd pretty much stick to one style for
Mhm.
the whole show.
We got the red suit here in the basement here. Some Billy Club action.
Oh, Billy Clubs.
Oh, look at that face.
That face is hilarious. I like it.
Oh,
Some
yeah, very brutal.
brutal.
Very, very brutal.
And then this is where the the Transylvania music comes in.
Okay.
I don't think it's quite that level, but I still like the spook factor to it. March 4th.
March 4th. It's pretty close.
Yeah.
February, March, yeah.
I think we'll get
almost there.
another one before then.
Another
Another
trailer?
trailer?
Ooh,
Yeah.
Jeez, will we get what's coming out? When the heck does Falcon not Falcon the Winter Soldier, Captain America 4, when is that? When does that come out again?
When is that? That one is
Would they play a TV
February
show trailer at
14th.
that? I don't know if they've ever done that actually though.
I'm sorry, say it again?
Have they ever played like a Disney Plus TV show trailer at a movie?
I feel like I've seen no, probably not. Probably not.
Hmm.
Because I don't think it would just say like only on Disney Plus
Yeah.
or something like that in a theater.
I don't think we need
maybe
another
I'm
trailer.
misremembering.
I think we
Yeah.
got enough here. So I'm gonna hope for no.
Yeah.
And I'll say no. I think this one's good enough. I think you rock with this one. Maybe you have like a couple little TV spot, little 30-second clip ones, but I think this is ample.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't need another one, but I could still like foresee like them do like a little quick spot of like revealing like another character that's in the show, and then of course it's like, well, they didn't have to show this. They could have just had a cool reveal moment in the show itself, but
Mm-hmm.
that's how things go sometimes. But
That's true.
no, I thought it was a solid trailer. I thought it was
Yeah.
really, really good.
Excited for that show.
Anything else to say on this, or shall we mosey
No.
on?
I think I'm good.
Cool. All right. Well, then we're going to take our first ad break here, ladies and gentlemen, and then we'll be right back to unravel some other things. Here we go. All right. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. So Yeah, we got a couple of rumored topics to mention. I'll say what letter grade scooper they are as we go through them. But the first one, especially because we were just talking about Hell's Kitchen, Daredevil, Mr. Bearded Punisher was appeared there, and will he appear elsewhere? Perhaps, perhaps not, because apparently, ladies and gentlemen, we have what was a rumored script for Spider-Man 4, which apparently has since been rewritten because, unless I'm mistaken, Kevin Feige didn't really love the initial script. Um, but a C tier scooper here said that apparently before the rewrites, the idea would have been a more violent Hulk would be appearing in this movie, and we would have a team up of Spider-Man and the Punisher, and of course the Punisher would be John Bernthal's Punisher. So pretty polar opposite type of characters for a pairing. We've seen that happen before. As I've already stated, I'm going through Daredevil right now, and I feel like that was kind of like always Daredevil and Punisher's dynamic, where okay, they're doing their own vigilante things. One goes the extra mile and just kills people, and one, doesn't kill people. So a little bit of difference there. But I feel like even Spider-Man to Daredevil like that's another jump in and of itself, just because Daredevil's so much more brutal. Even though I've seen Spider-Man dish out some serious damage, maybe it's just because he's
Always
quipping.
non-lethal, but
Always
somehow,
non-lethal,
even though it
but-
should absolutely be. Spider-Man 2018, I was hucking people off buildings. They absolutely died.
Oh no, they got webbed to the side of the building. Right?
Sometimes, other
they're
times I threw them in the middle of nowhere. They're dead. Okay.
But maybe it's because he's quipping as he's kicking ass that it makes it a little bit more
He has the
youthful and
cheesiest
jovial.
line of all time. So
Yeah, exactly. But so yeah, just I guess to ask you first, Dylan, like, what do you think of which has now been apparently supposedly a rewritten idea? But would you have wanted that, a pairing of Spider-Man with Punisher taking on? We've experienced violent Hulk in the past. Right as of right now, he's kind of in the smart Hulk realm where he's using his brains more than his bronze. But are you fiending for that violent Hulk? I know we're getting Harrison Ford's violent Hulk in the next Captain America movie, but yeah, are you thirsting for some angry Hulk?
I maybe I am. I think in the context of this one doesn't smell right to me when it comes
No.
to the rumor. When it comes to the rumor mill, it does not pass the smell test, and I think that part of me is like, okay, maybe this is a storyline from the comics, like this specific team up of Spidey and Punisher. I mean, we've seen that before, but like against the Hulk, I don't know what Punisher's role is in that. Is he stopping the Hulk in some way? This guy with like a grenade launcher and like a couple guns, like it just seems a little unbelievable. And I think in a comic book you can get away with that. I think in an animated show you can get away with that. I think in a video game maybe you could even get away with that. But I think in the movie live action sense, it would just feel a little off in terms of the power levels there. It might be hard for it to be believable. And I guess there's some way you could pull it off. But like in theory, you'd want them to be interacting with each other. If you're setting up a movie, if you're marketing the movie to be Spider-Man and Punisher versus the Hulk, you want to see combat between those guys. And like Hulk just throws one little boulder out of the ground at Frank and he's done for. So I don't know. Like I think that would be something that would seem a bit off to me. I think the idea of there being this like teeter-totter of Spider-Man wanting to take down the Hulk or like bring back Bruce, take him down once again non-lethally, webbing him to a wall, whereas Punisher should be like, no, we just got to kill this guy and take him out. That kind of idea could be fun in the back and forth of them trying to balance that out. We've seen things like that before, and I think it could be interesting, but it also might be a weird precedent to set up in like one movie's timeline to like introduce Punisher. Well, not, I guess we've been introduced them, but like it's the first time in the MCU on the big screen. The first time Punisher would be on the big screen. So you got to take some time to reintroduce. You got to get the characters to meet each other. And then like, how does Hulk fall into this? Is Hulk just raging around, smashing into stuff? If you think that's the case, like it's hard to also justify like, where are the rest of the Avengers? Why is no one else helping with this? It just feels like it wouldn't really fit in the MCU. This feels like a what if scenario. And it honestly is a little bit similar to the what if we recently got over the holidays with the Hulk, and obviously that went full crazy kaiju madness there, but the idea was like Hulk losing control again and doing some wild stuff and whatnot. So I just don't know, and I think they've made Hulk so much of like a like a lovable, like almost like doofus, which sounds kind of weird for the smart guy Hulk thing. But I just feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's kind of the way we've gone with the Mark Ruffalo Hulk recently, and I feel like we have Red Hulk to be the raging one. So like, would we do that again with Hulk like a year or whatever it is later, or maybe that movie comes out later this year? It just all sounds a little fuzzy to me. So
Yeah.
I don't believe it, and I don't love the concept either for live action. I think give me an Spider-Man what the hell freshman year? What is the hell is that show called again?
Well, they changed the name of it from
I
the
know I
original one.
can't
I actually
remember.
can't remember
Is
what
it
it
just
is now.
Friendly Neighborhood
Yeah,
Spider-Man?
Friendly
Yeah.
Neighborhood Spider-Man. Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't even know what's going on in that show. Give me that. Give me that concept in an episode of that show, and I'd be
Mm.
down. But I don't know if I want that for my live action Spidey
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, no, I think I'm right there with you on the smell test factor of this rumor. I think just the idea of getting Hulk back to his more just savage, bestial, ways versus the Brainiac version that we have right now. I don't think it's a concept that like is impossible to get to, but I just I don't know. I just don't want to like have a super lazy way to just get him like angry and mean again, just to like reset it. Like I feel like we've gone a long growth period of like of having that character like in the get go being the angry version and then being able to handle it and then kind of going back to that. Like we've just kind of already done that already. So
True.
and because he's always been pretty much a focal point of those Avengers squads. It just seems like if he breaks again here and like there is no Avengers or anything to be a part of that, it just seems like it's a little bit lesser. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it should be a big team up thing versus. Well, I guess you could argue that that would be the Spider-Man and Punisher pairing, but even there, it just seems messy in my mind. I don't know. Maybe I could be fooled, and they can make a really interesting tale of incorporating all those characters. But as of right now, I have a hard time kind of seeing that.
Yeah.
And Dalton mentioned in the chat here that Punisher first appeared in a Spider-Man comic, so I guess you could say like it's going back to that original pairing, which that's I could definitely see why this would be like a rumor that people are mentioning just because I don't know trying to cross two dots together, especially that we're seeing John Bernthal's Punisher now in the Daredevil Born Again, and just knowing that he's going to be at least somewhat a part of the MCU now. People will just be fantasizing and pairing him up with all these things. So, but in terms of the believability, I don't know. I don't feel super strong about that, and I don't necessarily want that one. So if that
Yeah.
is what the original script would have been, I'm okay if they rewrote it because it just seems like maybe it could be more mess than not.
Yeah.
So
I feel like there's a big clash of tones there too in terms of Spider-Man. He's a quippy character. He's a more lighthearted character. Now, with the ending of the last Spider-Man movie, we could be going into a phase where he's a lot more darker and brooding, and maybe he just doesn't have a lot of connection, right? Although from other rumors we've heard, like maybe he's just friends with MJ and stuff again, and like it all kind of worked out. But then like Punisher, the one that we've had established so far, once again he could change a bit because like even Daredevil, tonally very different in She-Hulk than he is uh, for the most part in the television series, and there is like moments of levity in those shows, of course. But
mm-hmm.
and then like I don't know what this Hulk doesn't sound like a very fun, lighthearted Hulk. That also sounds like a pretty dark, serious thing. So I don't know. I wonder if those would clash at all with the current Spider-Man we have, or if they would venture down that road of making it more of a serious thing. I don't know if they want to do that though.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Cool. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say on that. Do you?
Yeah, I guess the other detail of this was that like Scorpion and Shocker maybe were part of this
Oh, right.
project
Yes.
as well. Maybe that would be an early. I feel Shocker seems like an early like first goon type guy you take out. Scorpion seems like a slightly bigger deal. Like maybe
Yeah.
that's where Spider-Man and Punisher would come together, and that's how they would split their differences is
Well-
by coming together against those two. Perhaps.
Yeah, this was something where I mean I forgot to bring it up, so I'm I'm glad you remembered. But I just kind of discounted it as false because we've already kind of seen aspects to those characters from Spider-Man: Homecoming, right? Like we have we have Scorpion in there. He's just like a guy with a scorpion tattoo and nothing
Oh my
really
God.
more.
See that?
Um,
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
yeah, and then I don't know if we have. I can't remember if it's like the same Shocker from the comics, but like a guy does get those Shocker
Yeah, it is.
weapons.
I think it is technically Shocker. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would be because I definitely not a fan of those versions. Both of those characters are really iconic for me. Just being a fan of like the original like Spider-Man cartoon back in the day, and just the versions of those characters that show up in the video games. Very iconic to me. Even though I don't really see them as like the S tier big bad villains, but they're just a really really great like B villain. I feel so, and because I have just nostalgia for them, I hate the way that they were done. So I would be okay with a reset of those characters, but just them being somehow featured in this mix, it just adds to the unbelievable factor for me on this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to give another go. So maybe like Secret Wars or something when we're dealing with some multiverse. Maybe we can see like a multiverse version of those characters, and that could be pretty exciting. But I'm not gonna hold my breath.
We don't have time for that in Secret
yeah,
Wars.
exactly. Cool. And then I guess the other thing I was gonna tie into this, just talking about the Hulk. Rumored. This is a C tier rumor. George Miller, big, famous, renowned director, of course, of the Mad Max. He did Fury Road as well as Happy Feet.
And
but,
Furiosa.
Everybody forgets about Happy Feet, so I
Don't
try
forget
to
about
remember
Happy
that
Feet.
one. Yeah, I try and remember that one as much as I can. But yeah, Furiosa, Mad Max Fury Road, and then of course the original Mad Max and Happy Feet. But so big like cinematic type of a director. So yeah, the rumor is that he could be doing a World War Hulk movie or a Thor 5. And yeah, does that tickle your fancy, Dylan? I know you're not really well versed in all the Mad Maxes. I know
I've seen his two most recent ones, so
Yeah,
that's good enough. Right?
actually, that's a good track record. Have you seen Happy Feet? You a big Happy Feet fan?
I have not seen Happy Feet. I was just
Okay.
defending it 2 minutes ago. But
That's
I've
okay.
Not, I've not seen it myself.
I don't think it holds up, but it had an
Oh, really?
awesome game on the GameCube. So shouts out to that game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
it's
rented that
24
from
hour stream. We can whip
Blockbuster.
out Happy Feet on the GameCube.
I do not own it. It was a Blockbuster rental, but I would love to try that one again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, the Thor one jumps out at me, of course, because Hemsworth was in Furiosa, and that
Right,
seems like a
yes.
pairing made in heaven. The World War Hulk one seems a little more random to me. So there is some validity to this, and this one is definitely, even though this is C tier as the last rumor was, this one feels a lot more believable to me. Only because I feel like it's actually a bit of a similar situation to Taika, where Taika made some movies, but like he needed some money, and that's why he did Marvel stuff. He's come out and said that now that he seems like he's done with the MCU. He said that as much as that's why he took on those Thor projects, like in large part perhaps, or maybe like he's been burned because the fans have kind of turned on those movies in a big way, and so maybe in hindsight he was like looking at it that way. But either way, it seemed like a thing. And George Miller, like Furiosa, did not do well at the box office, and I don't know what his financial situation is like. Maybe he needs some Marvel Disney money, and so he just needs to crush out a Marvel movie or two, get a nice easy quote unquote paycheck, and then he can move on to like a more passion project thing for himself. That's a lot of speculation. I have no idea what this guy's financial situation is like, or what Hollywood looks at him as in terms of his ability to make another blockbuster, and maybe Mad Max is just too niche or something. But yeah, I feel like if they're done with Taika as Thor, as the director of Thor, and they want to keep the vibe somewhat similar, like I think that Taika may be more straight up comedy, but he also has a variety of stuff in his repertoire that he's done before. I think George Miller actually could be a good fit for that, and like it would be less silly, I think, and less like slapstick that those recent Thor movies were. But I still think there is a bridge between, I mean, obviously those early Thor movies and how dark and serious they were, and then Taika was like, oh, whoa, 180. And I feel like this would actually be just a much smoother, like there'd be a little bump in the road, but actually it wouldn't take too long before we kind of even out again in terms of the pairing there. World War Hulk, that's hard to say just because like I don't know what the heck the vibe or tone of that would be, or like what else would be entailing with that. But I think from that same perspective of like he's a great director, he makes big blockbustery things, he can make things big and cinematic as you mentioned. So I think like he seems like a good pick for doing a Marvel thing. I think maybe my preference would be like maybe he goes and does more unique things because he is a pretty unique director. But at the same time, I haven't seen his movies other than the two Mad Max
Mm-hmm.
movies. So like maybe I'm saying that, and maybe the best way for me to go see his next movie would for him to direct a Marvel movie. So I
Yeah.
think the pairings are pretty good here. I'd prefer Thor, I suppose, of the two. And I would not be mad if this got confirmed and moved ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I like his body of work. We did a Mad Max retro. Go check that out on the feeds. That was lots of fun to go through all those wild early movies. So yeah, I've definitely had some experience with this director, and I think it would be a really awesome addition to just the plethora of MCU directors that we've had in the past. I feel like either of them I would be okay for. I feel like each of them can be very grandiose in the scale of just the action and everything, especially like a World War Hulk. I feel like maybe that's the one I'm leaning for a little bit more, but
Okay.
maybe it's just because it's harder for me to see past maybe the era of Thor that we're in. But you gotta, I guess I have to remember that the Thor that we have right now, I think we're definitely past the halfway point of Hemsworth's just appearances with that character
Yep.
in the MCU. So maybe we're just entering like the third act of that character, and maybe just a different tone is going to be really fitting, because as you mentioned, like we started with a darker tone in those earlier movies and then complete 180 with Taika, which was just like, I guess, just the peak of like the bright humor around that character. But I think maybe now that we're getting closer to the end of closing that not just the chapter but the book on Thor himself.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's gonna be dying next appearance, but I feel like we're getting to the end of the road there. So yeah, maybe we're ready for a little bit more of a different tone, whether that's more dramatic or sad. Who knows? Who
Yeah,
knows what it'd
true.
be? But
I think that it would be
yeah.
a fun 180 for the previous project for Hemsworth and George Miller, where
Yeah,
like he
that's
would
true.
directed him as a villain and then he directs him as a hero in Thor next. That
Yeah,
would be kind of a fun little flip flop.
right. And I'm sure they had some like great chemistry together. We're working. Can't confirm nor deny that, but I mean, he chose him for a reason to be
And
in
you
that
know what?
movie.
Bring
So
Anya back for some role
oh
in
yeah, get her in there.
Thor 5. Let her do whatever. She can be like a new Hela or something. That'd be fun.
Exactly. She'll need it after doing the Gorge, because no one's
Wow.
gonna be seeing that movie. But
I'll see it. Not in theaters though.
yeah, not in theaters. So yeah, that was of course like a C tier rumor. But I'm down for it. So for
What's
round
the believability BS meter on that one? What
BS
what
meter,
percentage?
I'm gonna say like for either of them,
Just
I
George
guess.
Miller coming to direct a Marvel thing.
I'm gonna say like 63%.
Oh, okay.
It's like a
Confident.
C. I think that's a mid C.
It's a C tier, just like the rumor.
So I did that
beautiful.
knowingly. Yeah, exactly.
I'll
It
go
wasn't
33.
planned.
I'll go 32.
33%.
No, I'm dropping
Okay.
32. 32.
Okay,
percent
a little
chance
bit,
that it's
little
real.
bit below. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a little bit less than a C tier, but I respect that. Okay, and then the last thing I want to mention in the Disney realm here is in terms of Strange Academy, the next
Ooh.
show coming to Marvel Television, which apparently I think this one's a B plus tier if I remember. Oh, just okay, B tier. B tier. I apologize.
B
but,
tier on Disney Plus.
yeah, of course, this would be the kind of, I imagine, Wong centered show where he's kind of just, I was gonna say raising. That's the wrong word. Just teaching, I guess, the new era of supreme wizards and all that. So, we love Wong here on the Geekverse. I'm totally down for what this show could be. I like being in that mystic realm, and yeah, in terms of believability factor, like it is a B tier, but I don't. I'm gonna say
You don't think Strange? You don't think Strange is here? You think it's just Wong?
I feel like what this show could be is a bridge to whether it's the next Strange movie or the next like a Shang-Chi title. I feel like maybe there'll be some crossover in those realms. Not necessarily like
I
Shang-Chi's.
think we get another Strange movie before we get this at the
Yeah.
very least.
Yeah.
Once again, that movie's huge box office.
That is true. That is true. Big money movie.
Multiverse. That is.
I don't know. I feel like part of me yeah, it's saying maybe the main Doctor Strange himself won't be a big part of this show.
Okay.
That's my feeler right now. But are you in the opposite
I think
range?
I would just be way less excited if he was not
Yeah,
like starring in it. I
Wong
love
wouldn't be doing it for
Wong.
you.
I love Wong, and I want him to be in there too. I think they're a great 1-2 punch. They have great chemistry together as buddies.
Yeah.
I'd love to see them just in their own movies, and then also like teaming up together in MCU stuff, like in the Avengers. You know, the bigger things, the team ups.
Mm-hmm.
I really like seeing both of them there. And I've liked Wong in his moments outside of that too, like
Yep.
the She-Hulk stuff. Like he's always fun. He's always a thumbs up from me. But I think I need a little more sauce to be engaged in a show, and I feel like that would be a very risk. Like after some of the issues that Disney's had recently in terms of money, in terms of like success of shows, I feel like that would be a very, very, very big risk to do a show with like just Wong as the
Yeah.
like about him, and yeah, maybe bring some other like high level characters in, but I don't really know who fits in that realm other than like Chavez. And I don't know. Ned made a magic circle once. Maybe bring Ned in from Spider-Man.
Hobgoblin.
But yeah, like Hobgoblin. So I don't. I feel like you need Strange, and that would be a lot more interesting to me. And I think it'd be fun to see that duo kind of setting up a full-on academy and teaching some people, get some pupils. But
Yeah.
I'm even though this is a higher tier scoop than the other ones, like maybe it's in the works. Okay, I guess that's a much less committal thing to say than like these scripts and like George Miller getting confirmed. Like just
Mhm.
the fact that a script maybe is in the works or some ideas like that's okay. It's pretty easy to believe that they're thinking or considering it.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I guess for me, just with where the MCU is at and all these rumors we've heard in terms of where they're going with these future things and going back to the legacy characters, the characters that make money and people are nostalgic for, I just don't know if I see this happening of like another show that's maybe it seems like the purpose is to bring up some new blood, like some new characters and get them in the mix.
Mhm.
You know, like maybe it's really focused and it's really just about like Chavez and like boosting her up as a character. And she was in a huge movie that made a lot of money, so maybe there's an idea there, and you sneak in like a Magic or I don't know who else, some other up and comers, maybe a young Robbie Reyes like Ghost Rider kind of thing. But I don't know. I think is it possible this is in the works? Sure, but I don't see it happening in the next few years. I guess is
Yeah.
my cynical take on the thing. Although I
That's fair.
love if Doctor Strange himself was in it and Wong, I mean it would be one of my most hyped anticipated things for the MCU because I love those characters. But I think you got to tweak it just right, and I don't know, it sound a little sketchy right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I of course would be down to have Benedict in here. I feel like he's just so pricey, and if you're gonna have Wong
Which Benedict we talking here?
Benedict Cumberbatch, is that his
Don't
name?
don't forget that Wong is Benedict Wong.
Oh my
is his
gosh,
name.
that's right. Benedict Square.
You got to specify your Benedicts in this.
I
house.
apologize, Mr. Wong. I yes, forgot he was Benedict as well. But I don't know. It just seems if we're getting a bunch of different faces in here, like it's going to be an academy, so I imagine it would be a pretty decent roster of characters in that show. It's just hard for
A
me
lot
to
of people
believe
died
if
in
it-
multiverse. That would be potential candidates.
That is true. That is a fair point. And yeah, in terms of believability, I definitely think this is in the works, but I want to say this definitely has the ingredients to being a show that just maybe never sees the light of day, even though it is getting pushed along. But like, I guess we're living in a world where like Armor Wars is still coming out, and I thought that show was just
see.
dead on arrival. And,
Yeah. That show movie,
Yeah.
Nebulous something.
and things like Blade, I truly believe that'll never see the light of day. Mahershala Ali's Blade.
At least we got Arcane Leon's Blade. That's all I need.
yeah, exactly. They can never take that away from us.
Well, Microsoft
I-
did close the other Arcane, so I never say never. I
don't
hope
say
they
that.
get
Let me have hope. But I don't know. It sounds cool. Obviously we'll wait and see. But my initial feelers are sounds cool. I
Yeah.
do hope it does happen. But
Sorry, quick side tangent.
Yep.
I was on Reddit today, and I think it was like on a Hitman subreddit, comment, and someone was like, "Man, why don't they make stealth games anymore?" And there's a bunch of people in there, and one guy was like, "Oh man, I really want Arcane to make Dishonored 3." And then some guy replied, and he's like, "Arcane's dead, man. It ain't happening." And I felt like such a hero today when I was like, the Arcane that made Dishonored is still around. There's still a chance, buddy.
Did you mention that to him? Did you?
I did. I don't
Yeah.
normally post, but I was like, I can't let this misinformation exist on the internet. I need people to know that the people who made Dishonored 2 are making Blade right now, and they're
Yeah.
good to go.
Well, thank you for stepping in
Anyway.
for that, man. Cool. Anything else on these Disney rumors?
No.
No.
Not.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, we're going to take our next ad break, and then we're going to be bringing up some trailers to talk about. So we'll be right back. All right, Mr. Muss, we got a list of trailers here. We got Mr. Matty Sags, our great Patreon, who is asking us to rank them in his usual order of excitement. But yeah, and any ones that really caught your fancy here? Was it a weaker batch of trailers than we normally get? Maybe that's how I felt a little bit. But,
This is a weak batch. Yeah.
capital W for you.
The fact that Daredevil is also a trailer that I guess
Yeah.
is in contention for the ranking.
We
it
can make
makes
that
it,
a ranking.
Yeah, that's the star ingredient here. But the rest of it is like some moldy cheese and some
It's
expired
like when you have
crackers.
your tiers, when you're
Yeah.
doing tier maker, it's like, hey, this is my S tier, and then everyone else is like a couple letter grades below.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess the ones we got here: the Monkey, Until Dawn, Back in Action, The Woman in the Yard, Heart Eyes. So we got a lot of like horror thriller kind of vibes in the mix here. I guess I'll start with the Monkey because that is one. I think we talked about a trailer about that probably back in November, maybe it was October. So that's the next movie from Osgood Perkins, who made Longlegs. Which sometimes I wonder, like, man, some of these directors they're just getting movies out the door. Like someone like Yorgos Lan, like he just had Poor Things, and then like Kinds of Kindness came out like a few months later, and then he has like his next thing coming out soon, I think. So it's just crazy what some of these directors are able to do. But I'm pretty excited for this. I think this is another good trailer for this. I'm excited for the silly like Final Destination angle of it. I think that was my takeaway from the last trailer. So I don't know if I had a whole lot of new takeaways, but I like the dialogue. I like the concept. I think it's just going to be a fun movie of like weird Rube Goldberg death machine things. And like after watching Longlegs, I'm just so confident in his tone, his style. There's this a certain essence to his movies that I think is really special. So yeah. I'm pretty excited for this one. I think it's going to be a good time, even if it's not an all-time great. I don't think it'll be as good as Longlegs would be my prediction, but I still think it'll be just a fun time nonetheless.
Yeah. It. I feel like initially it just turned me off because I was just under the assumption, I'm like, oh, this is just gonna be like a gross movie of, like you said, Final Destination, where we just get deaths and brutal kills on screen, and those things that make me squirm. I'm usually not one to seek those out. But as the trailer was going on, I definitely found some dark humor in it. I feel like Theo James, the lead, if I'm remembering his name correctly, I feel like just the way that he was handling certain situations made me see this as a little bit more special than just being like a kill fest type movie. So, definitely one that I will I will admit it surprised me as it went along, because I think as it started, I just kind of discounted it right away. But those clowns are freaking creepy, man. But just the way that some of the deaths would happen too, it made me think of, have you ever seen a super B-rate horror movie called Rubber, where it's just a killer rubber tire that just
I've
rolls?
not, but I've always heard about it.
Yeah, it's really terrible. It's really, really atrocious. But
I can imagine. Yeah.
it essentially just, that's how kills happen. It just rolls up, and then like someone's head will just blow up, and they just die. And I feel like the way that the monkey is like actually getting these kills doesn't really make sense. He just starts a chain, like a game of mousetrap, which is a crazy contraption, and then ends up getting a kill done.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was a little bit more special than a regular kill fest movie. So yeah, boosted up a little bit.
Oh God, what's next here? So, man, Back in Action. This is like a.
Oh God, yeah.
This is like a Netflix classic situation where it's funny. I feel like Netflix, they release a lot of movies and they always have big stars in them, but often the movies are just really not good, just in general. And I feel like I was very surprised with It's What's Inside. I was like, oh, this is actually a really great movie. I really enjoyed this. Maybe they're turning things around. And then I see this trailer, I'm like, oh my God, this is the most generic thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't think there's anything I want to watch less in the world than Back in Action. And the rest of these trailers are not great. I would gladly watch any of these things 3 times before
Yeah.
watching back in action once.
Yeah, this one had that special factor, or maybe unspecial factor, of just being very like, oh, this is gonna be awful. And I feel like maybe it'll be a movie that I completely forget about after we do this cast, and then a couple months go by, someone in the Discord is like, oh yeah, I watched this movie, and I'll just have a hard time even remembering what it was.
It's a forgettable name. You will definitely, not
Yeah.
remember what it was.
I feel like it's very rare for me to enjoy like a true Netflix original movie. I think Day Shift, which of course had
Okay,
Jamie
yeah.
Foxx, that was a more positive one for me. But yeah, this just definitely looks generic and just cheesy, and not one I'm going to be seeking out by any means. And yeah, no, as a whole for these trailers, they really didn't do a whole lot for me. I think this was kind of the only trailer that wasn't just a horror movie, and yeah, I'm not really going to be seeking out any of these, even though, I don't know, they didn't look awful. This one was the worst of the bunch, but yeah, it wasn't great.
Hmm.
Have you ever played Until Dawn, the PlayStation
I've
game?
not played
Okay.
Until Dawn. It's a blind spot for me for sure. I don't think I've really played any of that studio's games. Supermassive, right? I don't think I've played anything.
Yeah, because yeah, no, I never got my hands on the. I guess there's only been one, but then they've made like a remaster.
They did a remake last year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For PS5. I was always interested, especially just knowing what that, like that developer, those types of games, they're definitely unique in the sense of it just being like a very cinematic type of experience, very theatrical, with just like having like the mocap actors and everything. I think the world that I was seeing in this trailer was really unique because it's I imagine it's pretty much the exact same thing that happens in the video game, but I think it's just because I didn't really have any familiarity with the game. I was really surprised about kind of the rules, I guess, of the world, of like what's going on. Like they have Until Dawn to survive, and then it seems like they die like multiple times or numerous.
But then there's
times
the
or something like that.
rewinding thing, right? With the
Right, the hourglass.
So I think that's to me that seems like the difference here, where I feel like Until Dawn the game, if you fuck up, those are your consequences. I guess you could reload a save if you want, but like the idea is that you're playing through the game multiple times. If you messed up and let character A die at some point, you can play the game again and try and save them this time and see all these different things, and that's kind of the fun
I see.
web
Okay.
of it all. But I don't think there's an element of the game where you're rewinding to like
Okay.
redo choices. I think you're supposed to live with your consequences and then play the game again. But I think this is like the movie's way of, I guess, taking that idea of like
Mhm.
consequences and actions and choices and like putting it into a movie version
Okay.
that is a thing that people can watch and make sense.
Yeah.
That's my take, at least. As once again, I have not played the game, but I think that's what's going on.
Yeah, I did like the setup though of what this was. I really finding that I'm just like a fan of the whole cabin in the woods type setting for
It's a
a
great
movie.
setting. Yeah.
And like specifically the movie Cabin in the Woods, where
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil that movie because it's just so fantastic of a twist, but just the way that in this trailer when they're like approaching the area, it's like once you get past this line, it's just raining, and then
Yes.
like it seems like it's a video game like room that's set up. I was having a lot of fun with that, and even just some of the villains and deaths that were shown here. This one was a more positive one, I'll say for me, just going through all these, and
Interesting.
of course, I'm somewhat interested in the video game, so maybe that helps of just
Yeah.
knowing what the setting is. But yeah,
Yeah, I think for me it was just this movie just looks really cheap and the writing seems to suck. The one scene that really stood out to me was a girl, her sister is missing. She goes into a gas station, shows a picture of her sister to the gas station clerk and says, "Hey, have you seen my sister?" And he says, "Has she gone missing?" She's like, "I didn't say that." What? What? The way this whole scene is set up, anyone would answer that exact same way, and it is not weird or suspicious because you've just shown this person, said, "Have you seen this person?" That the only mean that they've gone missing. So to me, that showed everything of like how shit the writing is going to be, and like I don't know. I think the game is like a bit campy, but this just seems not campy. It just seems poorly written and like maybe not great acting or whatever. Like I don't know, bad directing, whatever it is, something along the line. It just looks not quality.
I'm definitely seeing what you're what you're shining a light on, because yeah, when that scene happened, I was rolling my eyes. It was so ridiculous. But I feel like the saving grace for me is like the rules of the world. And I think if they really just lean heavily on, I don't know, like just going through these brutal deaths and like what they have to do, like sticking to, and maybe it is very different from the video game, but still staying to like true to the rules of this game being like the
Right.
movie. I think that's the most intriguing thing for me, and hopefully it's not just super disappointing on the way that
Yeah.
it's kind of explained.
Yeah. How do you think that's gonna work? Because I'm guessing it's not gonna be like a character. It's not like they can be like, oh, let's go back in time now and redo that.
No,
Because there's still gonna
yeah,
be consequences. But like, what will be the point? Is it when all of them die and then we go back to a point where not all of
yeah.
them are dead, maybe, and that way there can still be a story? I'm not sure how that's gonna work, but it seemed like from the trailer, it seemed like it's gonna happen a lot. Like we're gonna get a lot of rewinds.
Yeah, when they were looking at that one ledger, I assumed that was like the amount of times that they've died. I don't know if it was just one
Right.
person had
Okay.
gone through that, but that was quite a few instances that was jotted down on that. So, yeah, it wasn't super clear exactly what the rules were going to be. Like maybe they're just in this endless loop unless everyone survives. Maybe that's the thing. Like maybe one person just fucking keeps getting getting
The
eaten by
Kenny
something.
of Until
Yeah,
Dawn. Yeah,
exactly. It'd be frustrating, but I'm sure it would suck more to be the Kenny in that situation.
it's true.
I'm imagining there's gonna be some brutal deaths in here as well.
I don't think it'll be that bad. What
No
is this movie? PG-13? I don't know.
TVMA, the usual.
I
This is
don't. I
not
doubt
TV.
it. I don't know. I think they're going. I think they're going wide and broad with this one.
Yeah, because the video game would have been M-rated, I imagine,
Oh, that's a good question. Let me take a look.
unless it's a PG-13 rating. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe because I guess Five Nights at Freddy's would have been something where like the video game was probably more rated R or something along those lines, but then the movie version was toned down a little bit to just be more accessible to all audiences. But maybe I'm mistaken in that sense.
It is. Yeah, it is an M-rated game.
Okay. I just
Uh,
assumed because assumed with monsters there'd be some brutal deaths.
Yeah, I'm trying to find.
Yeah.
Is it R-rated?
I didn't even see like a date or anything on it, but I don't know. I was intrigued by the trailer, but it's definitely not one that like was selling me on wanting to go out to the theaters to watch this. I think this is definitely one I would be watching later on
Mm-hmm.
in an at-home setting.
Yeah, me too, for sure. Just like the way people play Until Dawn the game on the
Yeah.
comfort of their own couch.
Exactly.
What else we got here? We got The Woman in the Yard,
Yeah.
which this is a movie where what's going on? There's a family in their little farmhouse situation, and there's a Bene Gesserit lady out in the yard. And if you
It's time
approach
to
her,
do the
she'll
trial,
she'll
the
say
gum
something.
jabar,
Yeah,
essentially.
exactly. I was like, "Where's Chalamet with his hand in the little fax machine thing?"
Put your hand in the
Uh,
box.
Yeah. This looked pretty cheesy to me as
Yeah.
well. I will not be seeing this one. I don't think.
No.
To put it lightly.
I think this is one I can see myself watching much later down the line and completely forgetting
Oh.
about it, and then be like, "Oh, what's this Woman in the Yard movie?" And then remembering this moment. But yeah, it just seems like something I've seen before. Very much like The Woman in Black. It reminds me of like that exact same type of setting. But I actually ended up liking that movie somewhat. So who
Okay.
knows? Maybe this would be a bit of a surprise, but didn't have enough interest factor to get me in the theaters to watch this one.
Let's see what this director. Oh, this director. Oh, this is the director of Black Adam.
Oh wow.
Jungle Cruise.
Oh,
Carry
man.
On. Did you watch Carry On over
I
the
did
holidays?
not watch Carry On.
Orphan, that movie that I've never seen, but I always just that box art's like glued into my head. House of Wax.
Okay.
Okay, so this guy's made some movies. They're all kind of like
Good for
mid,
him.
I think, but like
At
you know,
best.
maybe sometimes you just want like a mid horror movie. So maybe this will
Absolutely.
be perfect.
I think most horror movies are mid.
I think the weird thing about this trailer that was throwing me off, because we've seen this concept a lot. People, family, whoever is in a house, there's someone outside. It's kind of creepy, but it's like it's never in just broad daylight. It's always
That's a good point.
at night. Someone's hiding behind a tree,
True.
and then they do a double take, and then they've disappeared. You know, but this is
Yeah.
just no. She's just sitting out there. You can go outside the house. You can go up and talk to her. Like she'll just continue to sit in her chair. So
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe it'll be a breakthrough hit.
Perhaps. I'm not going to be breaking through to see that movie though. And then are we at the last one? We got Hard Eyes here,
Hard
which
Eyes.
is very much I feel like there's been many of these like Valentine's Day slasher
Mm.
horror type films. I believe there's a movie called Valentine's Day, which is that same situation. I don't think I've seen any of those movies. It's not really a genre I seek
Okay.
out.
Is this going to break the trend then?
This is not going to break the trend. I feel like these types of, and maybe I'm mistaken by this, but I feel like these Valentine's Day slasher are very much oriented for like couples to go see these around the
For sure.
Valentine's Day realm. And my partner is definitely not a horror lover. Not a fan of suspenseful thrillers or anything along those lines. So yeah, and even just for viewing this on my own, it just didn't really capture a lot of things I'm interested in. My favorite horror is the slow burn type of horror versus the straight up axe to the face type of killer.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't think I'm ever gonna watch this movie. I think I'll just boldly say that right now.
Nice.
Yeah. There's some where like the woman in the woman in the yard. I almost said the woman in the black. The woman in the yard. I could definitely see myself, watching that one day, kind of forgetting about us talking about here, but just down the line see average horror movie. But this is definitely not one I'm gonna be putting on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me neither. This is also the second trailer for this. I think I have talked about this one before on the cast. I'm pretty sure. Heart Eyes. To me, this one looks better than like the other slop we had in this run of trailers here, and I couldn't really give you a good reason why. I think it just like wasn't quite as cringy. It looked like it had a little bit more quality, perhaps, a little bit better visuals, that kind of thing. So, but I don't think I have much more to say. Many more nice things to say about it. It looks totally fine. I'm sure it'll be another good turn your brain off, have a good time with your cutie kind of movie. So. Not one that I expect to watch personally. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's all the trailers, folks. So ranking them, however order you want to do them. I'll go first.
Okay.
Because I'm talking. So I'm going to start at the bottom, so my least interest level, and then I'm going to make it all the way up to Daredevil, because that's my number one. At the bottom, I got Back in Action. We were not super fond of that when we were talking about it. And then above that, I have Hard Eyes. Above that, I'll go Woman in the Yard, and then we'll do Until Dawn, and then The Monkey, and then Daredevil. That'll be my order. But like I was saying earlier, I think Daredevil's like an S tier, and then everything else, like The Monkey would be like B+ tier at the most for me. Like these trailers really didn't do a whole lot for me today, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I have a very similar one to you. So yeah, number 1's obviously Daredevil. Number 2 is Monkey. Number 3, I guess I'll go Hard Eyes. That would be a difference from yours. Okay. And then I'll go Until Dawn at number 4, Woman in the Yard 5, Back in Action, Dead Last number 6.
Dead Last.
Actually, put it at number 7. I don't know, just put it at number 7.
Right where it belongs.
Yeah.
Perfect. So there you go, Maddie. Thanks for your reoccurring Patreon question. We always appreciate you. And we are not going to rank them unless you ask us to do it every time.
Sure, we don't. We actually don't.
We
one week he missed it, we didn't rank them.
We did not do it, exactly. So you got to be on your A game there, Maddie. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the topics we have today. So any closing things you want to statement-wise you want to mention, Dylan?
Oh, God, there's so much pressure. No, I'm good. No, this is a fun little short and sweet newscast.
Yeah.
Yeah, when's the last time the Whalers have done a little newscast? It's been a while since me and you have just crushed one of these.
It's been a hot minute. Well, definitely the first one of the new year. So
yes.
Yeah, the Whalers were starting off strong. 2025. Daredevil
Whalers
born
will be
again.
back.
The Whalers were born again.
It's true. It's true.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, keep your eye on the feeds, and until next time, we'll be here. Goodbye.
Bye.